Since the middle of the 20th century, the relationship between Iran and the United States has developed into one of the most complex, tense, and long-lasting geopolitical rivalries in modern history. What began as strategic cooperation during the Cold War gradually transformed into a deep confrontation shaped by ideology, oil politics, intelligence operations, revolution, wars, sanctions, and competing visions of regional power. Today, this conflict is not just a bilateral dispute between two nations. It is a structural geopolitical confrontation that influences the entire Middle East, global energy markets, nuclear non-proliferation systems, and international security architecture. The origins of this rivalry can be traced back to the post-World War II era, when Iran became strategically vital due to its enormous oil reserves and its geographic position between the Soviet Union and the Persian Gulf. Western powers, especially the United States and the United Kingdom, saw Iran as a critical buffer state in the emerging Cold War balance of power. In 1951, Iranian Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh made a historic decision that would change Iran's future forever: the nationalization of the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. This decision ended British control over Iranian oil resources and sparked an international crisis. Britain responded with an oil embargo, while the United States initially attempted mediation but later aligned with British strategic concerns about Soviet influence in the region. In 1953, the American CIA, in cooperation with the British MI6, launched a covert operation known as Operation Ajax. Through propaganda campaigns, political manipulation, organized protests, bribery of officials, and coordination with pro-monarchy forces, the operation successfully overthrew Prime Minister Mossadegh. Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi was restored to full power. This coup became one of the most controversial intelligence operations of the Cold War era and marked a turning point in Iran-US relations. For many Iranians, it created a lasting perception that the United States directly interfered in Iran's sovereignty and internal political system. Following the coup, the Shah's regime became one of the United States' closest allies in the Middle East. During the 1950s to 1970s, Iran experienced rapid modernization. Oil revenues increased significantly, especially after the 1973 oil crisis, allowing massive industrial development, urban expansion, and military strengthening. Tehran transformed into a modernizing capital with Western-style infrastructure, universities, and growing economic influence. However, this modernization was accompanied by deep political repression. The secret police organization SAVAK, trained and supported by Western intelligence services, systematically monitored, arrested, and tortured political opponents. Freedom of speech was heavily restricted and dissent was suppressed. At the same time, economic inequality widened, and religious and traditional groups increasingly opposed the Shah's Western-oriented policies. By the late 1970s, these internal tensions exploded into nationwide protests. A broad coalition of religious leaders, students, workers, and intellectuals united against authoritarian rule and foreign influence. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, who had been exiled, emerged as the symbolic leader of the opposition movement. In 1979, the Iranian Islamic Revolution succeeded in overthrowing the Shah, who fled the country. The monarchy collapsed, and the Islamic Republic of Iran was established. This revolution fundamentally transformed Iran's political identity, shifting it from a pro-Western monarchy to a theocratic republic based on Islamic governance and anti-imperialist ideology. Later that same year, relations between Iran and the United States collapsed completely. In November 1979, Iranian students stormed the US Embassy in Tehran and took 52 American diplomats hostage. The crisis lasted 444 days and became one of the most defining moments in modern American political history. Diplomatic relations between the two countries were officially severed in 1980. Shortly after, in 1980, Iraq under Saddam Hussein invaded Iran, beginning the Iran-Iraq War, one of the longest and most devastating conventional wars of the 20th century. The war lasted 8 years and involved trench warfare, missile attacks, chemical weapons, and massive civilian casualties. During this conflict, the United States provided indirect support to Iraq, fearing the spread of Iran's revolutionary ideology across the region. The war deeply militarized Iranian society and strengthened the role of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which later became a central institution in Iran's regional strategy. In 1988, another tragic event intensified tensions further. The US Navy cruiser, USS Vincennes, shot down Iran Air Flight 655 over the Persian Gulf, killing all 290 passengers and crew members. The United States described it as a mistake during a tense military situation, but in Iran, it is remembered as a symbol of injustice and hostility. During the 1990s and 2000s, relations increasingly shifted into a sanctions war. The United States accused Iran of supporting terrorism and destabilizing the Middle East, while Iran accused the United States of pursuing regime change policies and interfering in regional affairs. Extensive economic sanctions were imposed, severely affecting Iran's economy, oil exports, and financial systems. After the September 11, 2001 attacks, global geopolitics changed dramatically. The United States launched wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, expanding its military presence in the Middle East. In 2002, President George W. Bush labeled Iran part of the axis of evil, further escalating hostility and mistrust. During the mid-2000s, Iran's nuclear program became the central issue of international tension. Iran insisted that its nuclear activities were peaceful and aimed at energy production and scientific development. However, Western governments suspected potential military intentions. The United Nations imposed multiple rounds of sanctions, significantly weakening Iran's economy. In 2015, after years of negotiation, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, was signed. Iran agreed to limit its nuclear program and accept international inspections in exchange for sanctions relief. For a short period, tensions appeared to ease and diplomatic engagement increased. However, in 2018, the United States withdrew from the agreement under President Donald Trump and reintroduced a maximum pressure campaign. Sanctions were intensified, oil exports declined sharply, and Iran's economy entered another severe crisis. In response, Iran gradually reduced its compliance with nuclear restrictions, increasing tensions once again. In January 2020, the conflict escalated dramatically when a US drone strike near Baghdad killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, one of the most powerful military figures in Iran and a key architect of its regional strategy. Iran responded with missile strikes on US military bases in Iraq, bringing both countries to the brink of open conflict. Today, the Iran-United States confrontation continues across multiple dimensions. Nuclear negotiations, economic sanctions, regional influence in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon and Yemen, military presence in the Persian Gulf, cyber warfare, intelligence operations, and alliances involving Israel, Russia, and Gulf states. Iran accuses the United States of interfering in the internal affairs of Middle Eastern countries and seeking regional dominance. The United States accuses Iran of supporting militant groups and destabilizing global security. As a result, decades of mistrust, ideological opposition, and strategic competition have created one of the most enduring geopolitical rivalries in modern history. The history of the Iran-United States conflict is not only a political narrative, but also a story of ideology, religion, oil, power, and global influence. It remains unresolved, and its future trajectory will continue to shape international stability and the balance of power in the 21st century.